Later this month, Pope Francis is expected to release an encyclical letter on the environment, telling Catholics why acting on climate change is essential to the faith. Environmentalists were thrilled at the news. Former Pennsylvania senator and current GOP presidential candidate Rick Santorum wasn't. Last week, Santorum told a Philadelphia radio station the church has gotten it wrong a few times on science and said Pope Francis should leave science to the scientists. On Friday, Santorum tried his best to explain why he's more qualified to talk climate change than the Pope.
If he's not a scientist, and in fact he does have a degree in chemistry, neither are you.
I agree.
If he shouldn't talk about it, should you?
Well, we have to make public policy with regard to the environmental policy.
But you're not a scientist. You said leave science to the scientists. You don't think the Pope has a right to talk about this?
Pope can talk about whatever he wants to talk about. I'm just saying, what should the Pope use his moral authority for? And I would make the argument. Well, he
would say he's protecting the earth.
I would say that that's an important thing to do, but I think there are more pressing problems confronting the earth than climate change.
Joining me now is Sirius XM radio host John Fugelsang and Rob Boston, Director of Communications at Americans United. Do you want to protect the earth? What do you make of Santorum's comments here, John?
Well, of course, we are called upon in the Bible to be good stewards of the earth. But, you know, religion is so often a Trojan horse, Dr. Dyson, for politicians, and very often you'll see politicians willing to turn on their faith instantly if it means profits can be threatened. And climate change, as you know, is a sinister conspiracy to convince people that pollution is bad by 90% of the world's scientific consensus. What's interesting about Santorum is he's the guy who likes to come out and boast of his Catholic piety. However, he was against the Pope and the Vatican on the Iraq War. He disagrees with them on universal health care, on the death penalty, on evolution. The Pope is more liberal and pro-science than Santorum on that. But gay marriage, oh, you're fine right there, Pope. Go ahead. I agree with you on opposing that. So again, he'll go against his faith when it suits him. And as the Pope shouldn't be pretending to know science, Rick Santorum's job is pretending to know science to hustle low-information voters for cash.
Yeah, Alex, that's 10 for the guy with the degree in chemistry. So do you think Santorum sees the irony in saying the church should leave science to the scientists there, though, Bob?
Well, it's interesting. You know, Rick Santorum is the guy who once said that John F. Kennedy's view on separation of church and state made him want to vomit. And he's the guy who, when he was in the Senate, repeatedly attempted to get creationism taught in our schools. This is not exactly Bill Nye the Science Guy we're talking about here. And I find it amusing that whenever the Pope comes out for, you know, attacking same-sex marriage or attacking legal abortion, Rick Santorum is, you know, rah, 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 go get him. But when the Pope takes a slightly liberal position on climate change or economic justice, suddenly the Pope doesn't know what he's talking about, and it's time to, you know, put duct tape over his mouth.
Yeah, you know, given what Rob is saying there, what do you make of the fact that people of faith have a problem of seeing, you know, the environment as a moral issue?
I think it's kind of pathetic, and I think, you know, it's why we talk about sheep quite a bit. You know, they say that they support Jesus, but reality, a lot of folks have a Bible that's just the book of Leviticus and the golden calf and the book of Revelation duct taped to a Left Behind book. And that's as deep as it gets. Again, we're called on in the Bible to be good stewards of this environment, of this earth. This planet, getting to live here is a blessing. And so the notion that pollution is okay if profits are threatened goes against everything Jesus and God talk about in the book.
Yeah, that's profits, P-R-O-F-I-T-S. So turning now to Lindsey Graham's comments on Caitlyn Jenner, here's what he had to say on Sunday. You all take a listen.
If Caitlyn Jenner wants to be safe and have a prosperous economy, vote for me. I haven't walked in her shoes. I don't have all the answers to the mysteries of life. I can only imagine the torment that Bruce Jenner went through. I hope she has found peace. I'm a pro-life, traditional marriage kind of guy, but I'm running to be president of the United States. If Caitlyn Jenner wants to be a Republican, she is welcome in my party.
So, Rob, is this the new direction of the Republican Party?
Well, you can really see these guys dancing all over the place trying to get an answer for this question, because it's one that is just, you know, the younger generation will tell you when it comes to LGBT rights that they're solidly behind that. They're in favor of marriage equality. This old gay bashing that so many of these candidates have relied on for so many years is just not going to deliver for them in the future. And I think they're really running scared, and that's why you're getting people like Lindsey Graham just, getting that deer in the headlights moment, not knowing what to say and grasping at the free market as the answer to this issue.
Well, John, they're willing to make an exception for Caitlyn Jenner, but they're voting en masse against whether it's gay marriage or even the acknowledgement of transgender human beings through their cisgender kind of narrow heterosexual lens. So how much does this reflect a trend, or we'll make an exception over here because we want to undermine you over here?
It's not really a trend. I mean, 70% of millennial Republicans support marriage equality. This is the dying gasps of a bigoted generation, and Lindsey Graham should know better. And it's interesting, Caitlyn Jenner is the most inspiring LGBT person ever to support a party that does not support LGBT persons. In many ways, Caitlyn Jenner is the ideal Republican female voter. And hey, I'm glad they got one woman to join the party this year. But when you think about it, she's old, she's white, she's rich, doesn't have a uterus. That's exactly who they're looking for. I applaud Lindsey Graham for letting his heart grow a bit. This is considerably less bigoted than the stuff we've heard in previous years. And it's interesting hearing the guy who prosecuted the Clinton impeachment being so open-hearted when it comes to matters of sexuality. However, I think it's going to be positive. I think they're going to see through their own focus group testing that homophobia is not testing as well as it did back in 2004 when Karl Rove was warning you that heterosexual dysfunction would happen if you let two guys marry.
Well, nothing like a focus group more than morality to push you in the right direction, so to speak. John Fugelsang and Rob Boston, thank you so much for your time tonight.